If you're serious about taking control of your drinking and making it permanent and not struggling and not fighting, the most important thing that you need to get your head around are other people, especially those that drink. So I've not drank for coming up to 8 years after almost 10 years of struggling, and I've boiled it down to 4 people who I've interacted with time and time again on this journey. Now, if you are able to approach these people correctly, not only will stopping drinking be possible, but it'll be easy. Nobody's going to derail you. But if you get it wrong, then more often than not, it can be other people that pull you back in, that get you off the wagon, so to speak. It's rare that people decide to drink sat alone at home in front of a fire and think, yeah, I've not drank for a year, but wouldn't it be great to have a six-pack now? It doesn't usually happen like that. It can do, don't get me wrong. But in my experience, and for a lot of people I know, it's usually involved another person. And let me just have a caveat here, it's not always direct. It's not always another person handing you a drink saying, go on mate, just have one. There are different layers to it. So we're going to unpack it in this video. It's very important that you watch this video because whether you've stopped drinking or you're still trying to stop, you will get something from this because you're going to interact with people. So what am I talking about here? So the 4 kinds of people. So the first kind of person, when you stop drinking alcohol, and these are the best kinds of people, are the people who support you. Now, these may drink, they might not drink, but when you stop drinking alcohol and you start telling your friends and you say, I'm done, I'm not drinking, you'll be met with many different types of opinions, but every so often, you're going to find a winner. And the winner, whether they drink or not, they're just going to support you. They're going to be proud of you, they're going to think that you're awesome, they're going to be supportive, they might even ask updates later on. How's it going without drinking? Yeah? Oh yeah, and the fitness and blah, blah. You're going to get good people like this, right? So that's the first kind of person. And I want you to be very, 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 very mindful if you come across somebody like this, because this is a true friend. I once had a friend tell me that when it comes to like getting better at life, especially in England, where I am right now, is there's this thing of like tall poppy syndrome. So when somebody kind of sticks their neck out of a social group and, I don't know, maybe everybody's like out of shape and then someone just starts hammering the gym and changing their life, you get this thing of tall poppy syndrome. And it doesn't really happen in America. But in England, people kind of like to, you know, cut the poppy head and get back down to our level. So when you stop drinking alcohol, it can send a message to people. And by the way, this will have nothing to do with you and it's all reflected on the person. But you may get people that are uncomfortable. They just don't like it. They're thinking, who do you think you are? So when you get somebody that's just like, that's awesome, I can't believe you're doing this, you know, I'd love to learn more, how have you done it? And you tell them you read the 48-hour alcohol reset in my book. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe. I mean, I'm getting some good reviews. But, you know, those people that are just like in your corner, they want you to do well. When you find somebody like this, that's a true friend. That's somebody that you should keep in your life for a long time because they're rare. Trust me, I know it. Most people that are told that I was stopping drinking alcohol were the next kind of person. There were a few that were, supporters, but most people are the next type. And this is when people are indifferent. This is the second person that you'll interact with. And by the way, the 4th person is the most important, and you'll see why. So just make sure to stay tuned. But the second type of person, they're just indifferent. You know, you stop drinking alcohol, you say, I don't know, maybe it's a family member. Mum, Dad, I've stopped drinking alcohol. It's like, well, cool, good for you. End. So they're not bothered, right? They're not supporting you. And sometimes that really hurts. I'm just being honest. Like, you tell somebody, listen, I'm going to do this big thing. I'm changing my life. And they're just like, that's cool. And it can sting, especially when it's somebody really close to you. But this is why, and I'll break this down. So during my work in Sober Clear, which is my company, my coaching program, where I help people stop drinking alcohol, business people, professionals, I give them this new way, reframing alcohol, Sober Clear system. It's freaking awesome. So I coach people. And one of the most, I don't want to say dangerous, but when I hear it, I just always think like, oh, please don't be that person. So I'll get people that the relationship has really gone down and, their marriage is kind of hanging on by a thread. And they call me and they're like, Leon, I got to change or my wife's going to leave me. I'm like, great. I mean, well, obviously not great, but like, it's great that you want to change. And I always have to ask them, who are you doing this for? And usually they're going to say themselves, but, you know, when people aren't changing for themselves, when people start doing it for other people, when for example, they stop drinking alcohol for their wife, and it's like they're never doing it for themselves. So then when the wife forgives them and stops giving them the hard time, and that's it, then they can always kind of go back to the drinking, because the reason why they were getting on this journey in the first place is fixed. That was the motivation. That was the pain. The pain is gone. They go back to doing what they were doing. So when it comes to finding somebody who's indifferent to your decision to stop drinking alcohol, you got to go back to your original reasons. Why are you even doing this? Were you doing this for the validation of other people? Were you doing it because you didn't want your wife to give you a hard time? I don't know. You need to find your own reasons why you're serious about change. So then when people are indifferent, it's like, it doesn't matter. Who cares? So this leads me to the third person. And this is a very dangerous person, but not as dangerous as the fourth kind. And the third kind of person that you'll interact with are detractors. So a detractor is somebody who, you know, you're going to tell them, I'm not drinking anymore, and they're going to have that face. And this is what happened to me. I remember telling this guy that I worked with that I'm done, I'm not drinking, and he just looked at me and said, here we go again. I was just thinking to myself, what can you do, right? Nothing. I got family members that are detractors. I'm not going to go into that now, but, you know, people that are very close to me, when I tell them I stopped drinking alcohol, they'd respond with, well, you're not going to miss the whiskey, right, with me and you. And I'm like, yeah, that means I've stopped drinking. And then they'd respond quite aggressively, negatively. Pretty lame, right? Pretty lame when it's supposed to be somebody that you love doing something like that. It is what it is. But you'll meet these people. And it goes back to that tall poppy syndrome. You will never meet somebody, I've never heard of this, you'll never meet somebody who doesn't drink alcohol who is also a detractor. You will never meet them. The same way you'll never meet somebody who will defend alcohol. When I'm making a video talking about how alcohol is poison, it's never going to do anything for you, the only people who ever defend alcohol are people defending their own drinking. It's really strange. Well, it's not really, right? Because they're addicted to a drug. So it makes sense. But it's the same with these detractors. When you stop drinking alcohol, you basically hold a giant mirror up to somebody and say, look. And it has nothing to do with your actions and you not drinking, and it has everything to do with them being forced to look within and say, I'm uncomfortable right now. And what's the best way to get rid of the discomfort for a drinker? Well, firstly, it's for them to drink. But what's even better is they get you to drink, so they don't feel as stupid about their decision to put a poison in their body. I sound like I'm being judgmental and harsh right now. I'm not judgmental because it was me. And, you know, yeah, when I make these videos sometimes, I have to pause and just have to kind of just reflect for a second and be like, man, I made some dumb decisions when I drank. But anyway, we're getting ahead of it. With detractors, you've really got to learn to just set very clear boundaries, right? Where you tell them, I'm not drinking, and you've really got to just cut them off. And if people keep pushing, you know, it just might be time to reassess that relationship. And that can be really painful sometimes. I've had to cut people out that were like this permanently. Not spoke to them for 10 years, for 8 years, in fact, but actually 10 years. Because it happened during another previous attempt. But anyway, so let me get back to the fourth one. The fourth person. The fourth person you'll need to watch out for are just normal drinkers. And these are people who you never interact with. You never tell them that you don't drink. You never tell them what you're doing. But you see them. You see them in the restaurants. You see them in a bar. You see them in the beer garden when you're walking through a high street. You see them. You don't say anything. They don't even know you. But you look at them, and there's a part of you that feels like you're missing out. You look at it and you think, oh, that'd be nice. A beer. And these people, they don't interact with you. They don't care what you're doing. But you will see them. You'll see them in movies. You'll see them on TV. You might see your parents do it. Your friends do it. It could be anybody. You will interact with these people. But it might not, it was going to be indirect, but there's still a message going into your head when you see people drinking. What is important is you never forget why you're doing this. You never forget that what they're doing is, it's just doing nothing for them. They're sat there drinking alcohol. They're going to feel awful the next day. They're poisoning themselves. They don't even feel that good when they drink. Most of the time, they're just relieving withdrawal from the previous drink, as we've already discussed many times on this channel. And they're gaining nothing. And you can never forget that. You can never, ever, ever forget that they're doing something that adds nothing to their life. So you've got to keep your wits about you. Never forget why you're doing this. If you do want help stopping drinking, I'm accepting new clients. If you click the link below this video, you can fill in an application. You can schedule a free roadmap call with either me or a member of my team. We can see if the Sober Clear system could be a good match for you. We've helped over 500 clients, business owners, professionals. So if you want to see if it's a good fit, click the link down below. I'll see you soon.